Hey everyone, this is Eric. Natasha had a post about how to use MIDI files from the site effectively. I guess it was about a week or two ago, I guess. Sean encouraged me to do this video, and believe me, I tried every way to get out of it. I came up with every excuse I could. I didn't know how to do it. My MacBook crashed a couple of weeks ago, so I didn't have access to Logic. My capture software was Mac only. Got a summer cold that's killing me, man. But in the end, he wasn't hearing it. And right now, he's just way too busy coming up with stuff for us to do for the summer. And unlike me, he's way too focused to get distracted by chasing stray squirrels and rabbits. But I really did want to help you understand MIDI files and the benefits of the transcribed MIDI files that are on the site. So here are my good intentions. Let me give you a quick history on MIDI. MIDI was created by Dave Smith. He's an engineer and musician. I think he was out of Cal Berkeley. And he's pretty much known as the father of MIDI. Him and the big boys standardized MIDI in the mid-'80s. Roland, Yamaha, and Korg. He founded Sequential Circuits, which was the profit line of synthesizers. I think the first public showing of MIDI, they MIDI'd a Prophet 5 to a Juno 60, something like that. Musicians soon discovered, the benefits of MIDI, and it was rolling ever since then. All of a sudden, you could edit MIDI files, you could orchestrate music. It used to take a $250,000 SSL mixing board just to do automation. Now MIDI lets you do it with a controller. The big, huge rock light shows that used to cost $500,000, and they all use DMX and all like that. Now you could trigger lights through MIDI from a $500 keyboard. It changed the game. From a student point of view, MIDI files overcame a lot of challenges of piano study. Like it taught you how to keep rhythm. It made students sound more musical because it's more musical to learn in a group, and MIDI simulates that. A MIDI file will give a student the experience of playing in a band. Of course, you get to slow down the parts so that you can understand them better, learn them, and then once you learn them, you can transpose them and you can play them in every key. And depending on your DAW, you can notate these MIDI files. So if you don't know how to read, you can learn how to read, and if you can read, you can brush up on your sight reading. By notating the file and playing the MIDI file right next to each other, you learn how to read through association. The dots start making sense. Now, one of the most important things that I get out of MIDI is phrasing. I had a chance to do a master's class with Branford Marsalis a couple of years ago, and I got to ask him a couple of questions. One of the questions that I asked him was about the language of bebop, because I struggle with it. And for those of you that listen to people like Corey Henry and Peterson, a couple other guys that are into that, got that jazz influence in their playing, they play a ton of bebop, West Coast bebop. Now, I can emulate it when I hear it, but to improvise it off the top of my head like they do, it escapes me. So I asked him about that, what I could do to further me along in that. And the answer that he came up with really, really stuck with me. He told me that if I were to learn how to speak French and my only resource was a book, I would learn how to speak French a certain way. But if I were to go to France and live amongst the French people, and I would learn from what they spoke and what I heard, I would speak French totally different, because I would pick up their inflections in their voices, the rhythm of the sentences, the accents on the syllables of words. I would essentially speak French natively. And what I got from that was that you have to listen. You have to hear it in order to emulate it. Well, Midi does that. It captures the direct performance of whoever plays it. It captures all the timing, the dynamic range, all the way up to fortissimo. It captures every little nuance, and then you get to slow it down. You get to speed it up. You can change meter. You can change the key. All that's at your beck and disposal. Any kind of way that you want to. So Midi is really, really good at all of that. Anyway, on to the transcription file. We talked enough. I took one of Sean's transcriptions. My name is Victory. And I didn't alter his transcription at all. And I think the only thing I did change was, I think it was originally a piano voicing, and I used some kind of a layer. Now, after I got the file into my DAW, I created a tempo map. And what that does is allow me to set up a grid to match up the tempo to the performance. Now, once I did that, I was able to add drums to it. Now, what I usually do is I keep the kick and the snare aligned with the original performance. And what that does is give me the full flavor of the groove that the song intended. So, and after I got the drums in, then I just started adding all the instrumentation. All the, the bass track, strings, brass, all the little instrumentation that goes along with it. So in the end, I got this. Okay, now you get the general idea. When you take apart a track, it helps you twofold. One is in the producing, and the other is in the arranging. If you have any inclination to write songs or give some songs back, then learning producing is, you got to learn it. And what the best way to learn it is take apart a track. You learn how they place things sonically in the field, as far as panning, levels, using stuff like reverb to put things back in the mix, using compression to bring things forward in the mix. You learn all that from your ear. It's good to know technically what each one of those terms do and how they do it, but to actually place it somewhere, you got to get it from your ear. So taking apart a track is the best way in the world to teach you how to do that. Now, as far as arranging go, the possibilities are endless. As a keyboardist, we play an instrument that has hundreds of sounds in it, samples of strings, samples of a bass, samples of keyboards. So you've got all those sounds that are available to you, and they're over an 88 note range. Now, all instruments, acoustic instruments, don't have an 88 note range. So once you learn what certain ranges are, you play things differently. Like you hear a string sound, well, it changes the way that you play that piano line. I see a lot of guys now who are soloing, and they're getting all these wild solos, and you wonder where it's coming from, and all of a sudden you say, man, that's a sax line. Wait a minute. He got that from the vocal melody. And you start figuring out different ways to approach things by getting transcriptions from arranging. Now the last part that I'm going to try to go over real quick is the practice part. And this is kind of most of the important part. I'll take a part of the song, either like a verse or a chorus or a hook, and I'll loop it and go over it over and over again. It might not be a verse. It might be a progression, like a 2-5-1 or a 7-3-6, whatever. And what I'll do is I'll find as many ways as I can to play it. I'll get it under my fingers till it's just like I can't think. I don't have to think about it. I can just do it. And I come up with a bunch of different ways how to do it. And then I'll transpose it to different keys, because, different keys, you have to voice them differently because they sound different. And then after I've pretty much got it how I want it, then I play with the track, because I got my band with me. Why wouldn't I play with it? So I'll mute Sean's track, put it on loop, and then I'll go for it. Once you get the feel right, you got everything going, then comes the magic. Then you start experimenting. Then you start doing things in the box, out the box. You find out what works. You do solo lines, you find licks, scales, different things that work with it. And then all of a sudden you make it yours. And pretty soon it's no longer what it was intended to be. Let me see. Clumsy as that was, it gives you kind of a general idea how you just play with it and just go off on it. And then you take a different part of the song, do the same thing. So you could spend really a week on one MIDI, on one transcribed track, and find so much stuff out of just that one track. Because all I did just then was just take a little 8-bar section of the song that he had and just experiment with it and use it to its fullest. Then I can go to a different section of the song and do the same thing. So it's not hard to see how all the different aspects are available to you through these MIDI tracks. And he's got quite a list going now. I've only went through maybe about 5 of them, maybe 6, that I went through and transcribed them, all the different tracks, and then started exploring them and seeing what different people were doing across different lines, and getting different approaches. So now I have them at my command. When I'll start playing something, and all of a sudden that 2-5-1 looks familiar, and I'll do something across it, and I'll be like, darn, where'd that come from? But it's under my fingers now. I don't have to think about it. I can just do it. And the next time around it comes around, I won't have to play the same thing. I can play something totally different. We might be doing Amazing Grace, and I might do a montundo with it. It'll sound like a Latin version of Amazing Grace because I got it under my fingers now. I can use it at my disposal. It just depends on what you want to do now. All of a sudden, you become a master of all the elements that you have available to you. I hope this was a help for some of y'all. I'm not really good at explaining things, and I don't see how Sean does this. Man, this is really, really hard. Natasha, baby, I hope it was a little help to you. I hope you got a little something out of it. Hit me back up if I didn't explain something quite right. I was a little foggy or something. Blame it on the good drugs I'm taking, the NyQuil Maximum Strength. Anyway, peace and love, guys. I'm out.